Hello everyone, this is Unreal Noob and welcome to Unreal Engine for Beginners tutorial. In our last lesson we finished up the interaction system so that just by looking at it you can choose the short sword or the hero sword or whatever is in front of you, which is really good. We are using ray tracing. Let's delete these so that they do not show up when you just look at them, so which is really good. In today's tutorial, we'll see how to pick up a sword and attach to our hand, and we will also see how we can pick up a new sword and drop the existing sword back to the world. But before we start coding, we need to migrate some contents from another project. So open up your Epic Games Launcher, and in Marketplace, make sure you are in the Unreal Engine tab, and then in Marketplace, for the search product you have to type in action RPG, and if you scroll down you can see the action RPG by Epic Games. It is free, so just for you it would be add to cart like this. I already have it, so it doesn't show it for me. So for yours it would be add to cart, and then from the cart what you could do is just check out. After you have checked out your card, you can go back to your library, and under the vault section of your library, you can search the vault for the Action RPG pack, and then all you have to do is create project, choose the folder and make sure that the version is the same as the one we are using in for the dungeon crawler. For me, this would be 4.26, and once that is selected, create the project. I won't create it now because I already have it created before. Once the action RPG has been created, open up the project, and then we need to migrate this UI folder. So to migrate contents from one project to another, what you have to do is select on the folder you want to migrate, right click and migrate, and then migrate to the folder that you have. So mine is dungeon crawler, and inside the content folder just select folder. Okay, make sure it is the content folder and select folder. So migration is success, and for the items let's migrate this as well. I already have it, so I'll leave that one and close it up. And now the first thing we would do is open up our dungeon crawler folder, and inside widgets we'll open up the UI underscore player HUD. Over here we would like to add a few things. So the first thing that we'll be adding is a border in the canvas panel. Make sure it is anchored below. Position is 0 and 100 by 80. And then I can just put it over here. I will make 4 of these. The first one would be called health. The second would be called, let's say, sword. I can have it over here. The third one can be over here, and the fourth one can be over here. So this is the sword. Let this be the potion, and let this one be the shield. Actually, let this one be primary, and this one would be secondary. Okay, so compile, save. For these I'll choose an image for the brush. Just type in border, and you can have these borders. These borders are in the action RPG pack, so you can use that. I'll be using a different border that I have. This one. Oops. How much is let's see this, click on this and go back. I'll just apply this to all of these. So once they are done, I can add image to these borders. Make sure the images are the child. Okay, let us play the game, and we can see that the image covers up the border. So let us click on the image and open up the padding. It would be under slot, and let's add 10 to all left, top, right and bottom. That doesn't look promising, so we can change to 30, maybe no, too much, 20. Then we can say 15 or 18 would be good. So let's try 18 on all sides. Let us play the game. um 18 on top and bottom does not look right, so let's make 15 on top and 15 on the bottom, and now it looks way better than before. So we'll do the same thing for the others as well. So make sure it's 18 on the left, 15, 18 and 15, just like that. And for the next one, 18, 15, 18 and 15. And for the last one as well, same, 18, 15, 18 and 15. So once this is done, you can play to see how it looks on the widget, and once you are satisfied with how it looks, we can move into the player controller. So let's open that up. Okay, so the first thing we would require is to have a weapon slot. So we'll name it weapon, and this one would be an actor class of object reference. Now we need to add in an input binding. So for that, go open up the map. We can click on edit project settings and move to input, and under action mapping click on the plus sign to add an input, and we'll rename it to interact, and the key will be E, and then you can close it and move back to the player controller again. Let's call in interaction, action event interaction. So the logic behind pressing the E button is that the current interactable is valid, so that we can set our current interactable as the weapon. So how do we check if our current interactable is valid? We just simply right click on it and convert to validate get. So this way we can check if the current interactable is valid, and only if it is valid we will set up as our weapon. At this moment we won't do anything from the is invalid node. We will just be concentrating on the is valid at this moment. So plug in the is valid to the weapon, set weapon. So after plugging in, if we go ahead and compile and play this right now, you will see that we still don't attach the weapon to our hand, and pressing E does nothing at this moment. So to attach to our hand, we would just need to call in attach actor to component function, and the weapon would be the target and the parent would be our character reference, and then we simply just get the mesh, and that would be our parent. And for the socket we need to create this. So what we do is open up our BP player, click on the mesh, click on this magnifying glass and open it up. In the skeleton tree, we want to add the weapon socket over here in the hand R. I already have created a socket weapon calling it open socket. Let me just delete that. So in hand R, what you would want to do is add socket, and one will be created. So now you just need to right click on it and rename socket to weapon socket, and then you want to add one of the swords or the axe, whatever you want to put. So once it is there, you have to make sure that he is holding it, and if the camera is being hard to reach, you can just slow down the speed. So you can just pull down over here, just make sure whatever is good for you, the position, and the one you think is good enough, make it over there and save. Then click on this animation over here, and in and for preview you can choose use specific animation. I will choose attack sword. I'll pause this, and you need to make sure that this is a forward thing, right? So click on the weapon socket again and rotate this, yeah, so that when the animation plays, it is as better as it could be. Okay, just make sure of that. This one looks really good for us, so I'll just leave it over there. Go back, save all. I'll close this. I'll close everything. Just keep the player controller open. So the socket name is our weapon socket. Snap to target, make sure all of these are snap to target, and let's try right now. So if I place, and you can see it's in my hand, we do not have any attack montages at this moment, so yeah, they won't play right now. Okay. But as you can see, like if you pick up the other sword as well, it overlaps with the other one, so we don't want that to happen. Also, one more thing I could check is, yeah, in the dungeon crawler folder in interactables, in base interactable, make sure the skeletal mesh is the uh, root component. Okay, so just click on this, drag and drop it on the default scene component, so that uh, it is the parent of everything underneath. So we have issues at this moment. So if I now play the button and try to pick one, and then I pick up another one, you can see both of these overlap with each other in my hand, and also the sword name stays on in my screen, so it's like I can pick up the other sword if I press E, but that's not what's supposed to happen. So let us go back to our player controller. What we have to do is, from the current interact not the current from the weapon, we just make it, we just call the interactable ref, sorry, interactable reference, and from there we just set actor collision enable to false. So if I pick that up and pick this up, I no longer see the pickup message, which is really good. Now our other issue is, if I play the game, I will pick up two of these swords and they overlap with each other. We do not want to do that. So to fix this, let us go back to our player controller, and the first thing we need to do is put a weapon is valid check. So we'll just get the weapon and convert it to validated get, and now we will have two cases. The first one is when we do not have any weapon from the beginning, which is the first time we start the game, and we'll plug that in. If I pick this one up, only the first one will be picked up, the second one will not be picked up anymore. So that fixes one of our issue. But if this is the case, we can just only pick one sword at when we start the game and not more, which is really not good for us. So we don't want this. So what we have to do is from is valid, because when I have picked it once, the second time around this one becomes valid. Okay, so this weapon gets valid. So what we have to do is, from this weapon actor object reference, we need to get the class of this weapon, and we'll promote this to a variable. We'll call it weapon in hand class, and from there we'll set this one, and then we will destroy this actor, this weapon, which is valid the second time round. So let's see how much we progressed. The sword, I pick up the hero sword and it destroys it, and I have to press again to attach it. So let's see, let's call in this one. Let's drag these below. Yeah, so this one would be over there, like that. This one would be over here and like this, and the parent would be same. And we need to do this as well. So now if we do this, come over here and this, see, we destroyed the other actor and picked up the new one. But this is still not what we want. So we are doing it one at a time, making sure that we understand the logic behind it, so that in future we can do it ourselves and we do not have to go on to look for other tutorials to understand how something is being done. So that is our objective. So what now we want to do is, from the is valid, we want to drop the weapon that we already had in class. So what we can do is just call in spawn actor from class, and this class is the weapon in hand class that we set over here before destroying that. And the transform, we can split the struct, we can character reference, we can get the capsule component, we can get the forward vector, this one, get world location, add this in to other vector, multiply this with a float, let's say 10, that would be enough, and that would be our spawn location. We want to make sure the collision handling override is set to try to adjust location but always spawn. And once that is done, pick up the short sword, then let's pick up the hero sword, and the other sword is dropped. Let's pick up the short sword now, the other sword is dropped, hero sword, which is really good. Okay, as you can see. We want to set the rotation to, let's say, -90, so that they drop just like that, the same way. Sorry, not over here, maybe in the Y, -90, this and this, yeah, -90. So as you can see, it dropped below, just like that. Let us now open the base interactable, and over here, and in the interact info, let us go back to our interactables folder, and in the struct let us add a new interactable info. We'll call it weapon image, sorry, weapon image. We'll call it brush, sled brush, and compile save, and we'll add a new variable. We'll call it rotate. You can have this or you cannot have this, I mean, it's totally up to you. So let's see, like if by default b rotate is set to true, let's branch this from the event trick. If it is true, then we want to add rotation in the z to be +1 maybe. So let's see how that does. As you can see, they rotate right now, which looks really good, but once in the hand we don't want it to rotate like that. So we can go back to the player controller, and from the below part over here, we make sure rotate is set to false, and same thing over here. Before this, yeah, right, from the interactable, make sure rotate is set to false. So when you pick it up, it's right on the hand, like that. Okay. Which is great. Also now also the setup is done for our weapon. So what we can do is move to our widgets in the player HUD. You can go to the graph, sorry, not the graph, let's click on this image, not that one, primary. Yeah, make sure the primary image is set, chosen. So in the bind, create binding. This one will be set to weapon brush. So we call in the PC ref get player controller. We'll get the weapon ref and convert it to valid. If it is valid, we will get the interaction reference message, and we'll get the struct info that we made, probably interact info. Baba. Yeah, so we make sure our interact info is okay, then we need to break our interact info, and then the weapon image goes into over there, and if it is not valid at all, then we set it to a default one. We can promote this one to a variable. We call it default slit brush, compile, save. And over here, what we can have for a tint is 0. So by default we have nothing over there, as you can see, but once we pick up we have a white brush for now because we did not set up anything for our pickups. So in interactables and sword, uh, in class defaults, make sure in interact weapon image we put in an image of the weapon. Weapon sword, we can put that one up. And for short sword we can put up, let's see, sorry, in the slit brush, let's put in sword and put the we can put this one for this short sword. So let's play again. We pick up the short sword, that one pops up. For this, the other image pops up. So you can choose what you would want to show over there for those, and that will show up over there, which is really neat. So this will be enough for this video. We have finished attaching the weapon to our hand, and in the next video we'll look into the shield, the potion and the health. We'll set them up as well. And thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed and learned something from it, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel because that really helps me a lot. And I will see you guys in the next one.